Hello and a very good evening. You're watching News Tonight on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Frank Pereira. Here are the latest headlines. Chinese President Xi Jinping gets a taste of Gujarati hospitality as he begins his three-day state visit from Ahmedabad. 3 MOUs signed between Gujarat government and China. Jammu and Kashmir picks up the pieces as flood waters recede, leaving behind a tale of devastation. Property worth crores at risk. Shiv Sena says that the BJP should learn a lesson from the poor show in the by-polls, claims it is confident of running the government in Maharashtra. Scotland to vote in a crucial referendum on Thursday. Vote will decide if the country stays with the UK or goes independent. And boxer Manoj Kumar to be given the Arjuna Award after he wins the legal battle against the Sports Ministry. Chinese President Xi Jinping arrived in Ahmedabad today. He is in India on a three-day state visit. This is the first time an important foreign dignitary is beginning his visit from Gujarat. Within hours of his arrival, India and China signed 3 pacts. President Jinping is accompanied by his wife and a delegation of senior party and government officials. Here's a detailed report.
Chinese President Xi Jinping started his 3-day state visit to India from Ahmedabad on Wednesday. Jinping's visit is expected to define the relationship between the two neighbors who have had a troubled past. The president was met at the airport by Gujarat Governor O.P. Kohli and Chief Minister Anandiben Patel. President Jinping was also accorded a police guard of honor after the welcome ceremony. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was also in Ahmedabad to welcome the president. He met the president and his wife Peng Liyuan at the hotel where they stayed.
Thank you.
The two leaders held a brief meeting before the signing of 3 MOUs between the two sides. The 3 pacts relate to boosting Chinese investments in Gujarat. An MOU between the China Development Bank and the Industrial Extension Bureau of Gujarat government relates to the development of industrial parks in the state. The second was signed between China's Guangdong province and the Gujarat government. The third is between Guangzhou and Ahmedabad cities for cultural exchange. The Chinese president's next stop was the Sabarmati Ashram. The president was given a glimpse of Gujarati tradition at the Sabarmati riverfront. Traditional Garba dancers performed for the Chinese president and his wife. The evening ended with dinner served in a dome on the riverfront. The dinner consisted of only Gujarati cuisine and was attended by 22 VVIPs. After the dinner, the Chinese delegation flew to Delhi. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On his 64th birthday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled his economic vision for Gujarat. Launching 11 schemes of the state government, he pledged to make citizens self-reliant through government intervention and create a healthy culture of individual self-sufficiency and self-respect. The schemes under the Swalvalambam Abhiyan program are targeted towards the youth, women and people below the poverty line. These schemes are aimed to ensure dignity with self-sufficiency to the needy. Earlier, Modi met his mother in Gandhinagar to seek her blessings on his birthday. On the occasion, she donated 5,001 rupees for the Prime Minister's Relief Fund for Jammu and Kashmir.
તો રાષ્ટ્ર સ્વાભિમાની ક્યાંથી બની શકે અને સ્વાભિમાનના પાયામાં સ્વાવલંબન પડ્યું છે. એ પોતાના બલબૂતા પર મહેનત કરીને જ્યારે જીવતો હોય ત્યારે એ દુનિયાની કોઈ પણ શખ્સિયત સાથે આંખમાં આંખ મિલાવીને વાત કરી શકતો હોય.
Meanwhile, President Pranab Mukherjee returned to India after his 4-day visit to Vietnam. On his way back home, the president said that India's pact with Vietnam for possible oil exploration in the disputed South China Sea was just a commercial action. He also clarified that the deal should not be confused with issues of sovereignty over those waters. China had expressed strong opposition to the latest India-Vietnam agreement on oil exploration. During the president's visit, the two nations signed key accords to strengthen bilateral ties, including in defense procurement, oil exploration and air connectivity. President will receive the Chinese president at Rashtrapati Bhavan on Thursday. Moving on now, after the initial devastation caused by the floods, efforts are on to figure out the actual extent of the losses in Jammu and Kashmir. There are fears that property worth hundreds of crores could be lost, and then there are the scores of people that still remain stranded without food and water. Here's a ground report.
A state ravaged by massive floods has slowly begun to pick up the threads. Efforts are on to pump out remaining floodwater in Srinagar, but the slow pace risks damage to buildings, raising fears of loss of property worth crores. The city has transformed into a series of water channels strewn with wreckage, trash and dead animals in what is the worst flooding in the area in over a century.
कम से कम मुझे लग रहा है 20 साल पीछे फिर कश्मीर हो गया है इस पानी की वजह से यहाँ आप देखो राजबाग में अभी तक कम से कम एक मंजिल तक पानी है.
Stagnated water has posed potential threat of outbreak of waterborne diseases. You can see behind me that animals have died, dead bodies are floating in water and many residents are in lot of problems. जी बताइए किस तरह की परेशानी है?
सबसे बड़ी परेशानी ये है कि जो यहाँ डेड बॉडीज हैं, एनिमल्स हैं, बर्ड्स हैं, सारे इसी में फंसे हैं. लोग भी इसी में रह रहे हैं क्योंकि यहाँ किसी को सिंगल स्टोरी है, किसी को डबल स्टोरी है, तो वो अपने घरों को छोड़ना नहीं चाहते हैं क्योंकि they are not safe outside.
One of the biggest challenges for the authority is to prevent an epidemic in the post-flood scenario. The tragedy has also caused loss of livestock which are now decaying, raising concerns of water being contaminated. With hospitals flooded with patients, doctors appeal for more help.
Our hospital is almost functional, but we have only one problem. The water is, we cannot go inside the hospital. So that available to rent over the water, we can activate functional the hospital.
There have been complaints of slow distribution of food and water too. One of the worst hit are the migrant laborers who are stranded without shelter and food.
गरीब लोग हैं 2-2 लाख रुपए का माल चले गया साहब गाड़ी किराया भी मेरे पास नहीं है.
मेरे पास तो कमल पीनी है कोई खाना की नहीं है मालिक कुछ नहीं है मेरे तो 4 बच्चे हैं बाबूजी मेरे तो.
यहाँ पहले खाने पीने की जरूरत है सबसे प्रॉब्लम है खाने पीने की और जो लोग फंसे हैं उनको निकालना जरूरी है सबसे पहले वो काम कर रहे हैं.
3-4 फुट आएगा चलो कोई बात नहीं बट द वे इट केम इट ब्रोक गेट्स इट ब्रोक द वॉल्स सब तोड़ा. टिन की रूफ गर्म हो जाती है बहुत ज्यादा उसके ऊपर फिर भी बैठे रहे कि कोई आएगा कोई बचाएगा.
After restoring the national highway between Jammu and Srinagar, army engineers have successfully constructed 4 major bridges in Jammu, Rajouri and Poonch districts in a big relief to lakhs of people. The Army and Air Force have said that evacuation and relief operations will continue as long as they are needed. With inputs from Ravindra Shoran, Pranab Goswami and Kriti Mishra, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
For many in Kashmir, life after evacuation from flooded homes faces uncertainty. With homes, belongings and wealth washed away, they are hoping for things to turn around. Here's a ground report from the relief camps in the valley.
सब मिट गया घर में एक चादर भी नहीं है जो हम बिछाए और बैठे उधर कुछ नहीं है उधर.
Kausar and her sister were to get married next month. After the devastating floods, all her jewelry and clothes were washed away. Sitting in this tiny tent, she hopes and prays for better fortune.
2 सिस्टर की शादी थी और जो भी कुछ सामान लाया था जेवर वेवर कपड़े वापड़े सब कुछ वो पानी में गिर गया और सब कुछ पानी ने ले लिया.
Unable to fathom the scale of destruction, Mehak is just bothered about her books and school. She recalls and narrates the horrific experiences when the valley was underwater.
हम वहीं पे 4 दिन बंद थे, 4-5 दिन, फिर हमें इस नाव पे निकाला तो हाउस, फिर हमें छतों के ऊपर हमें जाना पड़ा, फिर वहीं से नाव आई और उसी ने हमें ये इधर पे छोड़ा, हमें खाने के लिए कुछ सामान ही नहीं।
Several of these victims living out of relief camps will have no place to go when the water recedes. Some could only escape the flood fury with meager belongings.
पानी आ गया, हम ऊपर चढ़ गए, कुछ नहीं रह गए, सब कुछ खत्म हो गया.
It will be a big challenge for the government to ensure rehabilitation for those who have lost everything to the floods.
If you could see the rooftop, it is triangular in shape. So the flood victims couldn't seek shelter there. Scattered, battered and ravished by the floods, Kashmir is trying to put the scattered pieces together. Reporting from Srinagar with camera person Junaid, Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
The centre has come out with telephone numbers for those in stress to call. These are the numbers on your screen right now. Moving on now, the Bharatiya Janata Party's poor show in the by-polls has emboldened its ally, the Shiv Sena. The party has hardened its stand as far as the sheet-sharing deal for Maharashtra is concerned. Shiv Sena has asked the BJP to learn a lesson from the results. Here's more.
The by-poll results have brought forth a more confident Shiv Sena. The party believes the results are a reflection of the BJP's popularity and the Saffron Party should learn a lesson from them.
चर्चा जारी है, चर्चा शुरू रहेगी और फैसला हो जाएगा, ये मैं कहूँगा। महाराष्ट्र के जैसे बड़े स्टेट में थोड़ा वक्त लगता है। लोग कहते हैं कि मोदी लहर चली गई। अभी कौन सी लहर है, क्या लहर है, उस बारे में जनता सोचेगी। महाराष्ट्र की बात मैं करूँगा। महाराष्ट्र में इस बार बाला साहब ठाकरे जी की लहर चल रही है और शिवसेना महाराष्ट्र में सरकार बनाने के लिए तैयार है।
In a show of strength, party chief Uddhav Thackeray has called a meeting of senior leaders and district heads in Mumbai on September 19th. Even though Shiv Sena has been the big brother of the alliance in Maharashtra, BJP is pushing for a larger chunk of seats after its spectacular showing in the Lok Sabha polls. But the by-poll results have perhaps taken away the party's biggest bargaining chip.
It is a matter of concern that we did not win as many seats in Uttar Pradesh as we expected. And we are sure that learning lessons from the by-poll, we will emerge as a victorious party in the 2017 Legislative Assembly elections. In Maharashtra, our top leadership, along with the party president, is taking a decision on this.
The two allies have been at loggerheads over the seat-sharing arrangement for assembly polls in Maharashtra. The BJP has proposed an equal share of 135 seats for itself and the Shiv Sena, with the remaining seats being divided between the other allies. But the demand has been rejected outright by the Shiv Sena, which wants to stick to the 2009 formula. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Former Assam Director General of Police Shankar Barua, quizzed recently by the CBI in connection with the Sharda scam, allegedly shot himself dead at his residence today. Barua's body has been sent for a post-mortem. Barua was admitted to another hospital last week after he complained of heart problems and was released this morning. The CBI conducted searches at the residence of the former DGP on August 28th in connection with the multi-crore Sharda chit fund scam. Let's now bring you up to date with the other national news from across the nation in our segment Nationwide. Students of Jadavpur University protested against police action against them on Tuesday night when they garrowed the Vice-Chancellor's office. 35 students were arrested after cops beat up the protesters for holding up the university officials. The students were demanding a fresh probe panel on alleged sexual harassment of a girl student inside the university campus when the cops intervened. The arrested students were later released. 15 people suspected to be workers of VHP and Bajrang Dal have been arrested in Ujjain for allegedly ransacking the office of Vikram University's Vice-Chancellor. Around 25 people have been identified by the police on the basis of video footage and newspaper reports. However, the police have not disclosed the identity of the accused. 2 militants were killed in an encounter with security forces near the line of control in Machil sector of Kashmir Valley on Wednesday. 2 AK-47 rifles and 1 UBGL along with the other warlike stores were recovered from the site. It's time for a short break now, but on the other side, US takes the lead in the fight against Ebola in West Africa. All that and much more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Back, you're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the US has taken the lead in the global fight against Ebola. After thousands died of this deadly virus in West Africa, America is ready to launch a major military-led response in the region. The initiative comes after the UN warned that Ebola had gone beyond health issues and could even affect political stability of the region.
A potential threat to global security. That is what US President Barack Obama called the Ebola epidemic in West Africa. White House pledged to send 3,000 troops to the region as it announced a major increase in US's response to the outbreak.
At the request of the Liberian government, we're going to establish a military command center in Liberia to support civilian efforts across the region, similar to our response after the Haiti earthquake. It's going to be commanded by Major General Darrell Williams, a commander of our Army forces in Africa. And our forces are going to bring their expertise in command and control, in logistics, in engineering.
The United States will be sending troops to aid relief, building field hospitals in Liberia, training healthcare workers, developing an air bridge to get supplies into affected countries faster, and providing community care kits and medical supplies to the affected nations. The announcement came after the US Senate panel held a meeting on the issue. Obama met with healthcare professionals from Emory University, where 2 infected aid workers were successfully treated.
This unprecedented outbreak received very little notice from the international community until those events of mid-July when Nancy Wright-Bowl and I became infected. Since that time, there has been intense media attention and increased awareness of the situation on the ground in West Africa. The response to date, however, has remained sluggish and unacceptably out of step with the scope and the size of the problem that is now before us.
The United Nations also warned that close to $1 billion was needed to contain the epidemic, which could infect up to 20,000 people if unchecked by the end of the year.
This is not just a health crisis. It has grave humanitarian, economic, and social consequences that could spread far beyond and affected countries. The United Nations is determined to meet this test of international cooperation and solidarity.
Meanwhile, the first 18 medical personnel of the African Union's Ebola task team headed to Liberia as part of the international efforts in response to the United Nations appeal for greater assistance to help tackle the crisis. More than 2,400 people have died from the virus so far, and the epidemic has spread to 5 African nations, including Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and Senegal. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, with just hours to go before the decisive referendum on Scotland's independence, the voters are busy considering both sides of the argument. Scotland's First Minister Alex Salmond urged voters to trust that Scotland can thrive independently and determine their own future. The UK reiterated its pledge to give more powers to the Scots if they voted no. Latest opinion polls suggest that the result remains too close to call.
More than 4.2 million people in Scotland are set to vote in the historic independence referendum on Thursday. Both campaigns, Better Together and Yes Scotland, are neck and neck. As the Scots decide which way to vote, we look at the impact the vote could have on Scotland, the United Kingdom and the global economy. In case of the Yes campaign winning, the United Kingdom will lose 32% of its land and 7.7% of its economic output. Scotland contributes some £106.3 billion to United Kingdom's economy annually. The Yes campaign, led by First Minister Alex Salmond, says Scots should have total control of their affairs. Scotland is confident that revenue from its offshore oil fields would sustain its economy, but they would first need to negotiate the share with the United Kingdom. The pro-independence party says the vote would allow Scots to design their own economic and jobs policy as per their needs. Salmond also claims that the Bank of England would be a shared central bank, but the UK government has said it would not agree to a currency union.
They won't tell us what more powers they're talking about. They don't agree between themselves what more powers should come to Scotland, and we're already seeing MPs from south of the border saying that they'll block any more powers for Scotland. You know, the choice we've got on Thursday is simple. We vote yes and we decide the powers we have in Scotland.
We've sort of relied on Westminster long enough, I think, and we've not been given a decent deal.
The No campaigners, however, promise faster, safer and better change to the Scots. The No campaign is based on the fact that a split would be an irreversible step affecting many future generations. They have pledged more powers to the Scottish Parliament through a fast-track devolution plan if the country stays. UK has also promised high levels of state funding and grants to Scotland and greater control over finances. The older generation fears that splitting from the United Kingdom could affect their pensions.
The effect of September the 18th, if you vote yes, is to end every single last remaining link that exists, the connections that we have with our friends and neighbours and relatives. All the political and constitutional connections go.
It saddens me to think that there may not be a Union Jack anymore too. That's our history, you know?
Management of border forces after the separation is another important issue of contention. MPs say the interest of people on both sides of the border would be gravely damaged. A yes vote would also require negotiations on an independent Scotland securing EU membership. Never before has part of an European Union member state become an independent country and sought to remain in the European Union. The referendum has no direct legal powers. If Scots vote for independence, Britain and Scotland face 18 months of negotiations over everything from North Sea oil and the pound sterling to European Union membership and Britain's main nuclear submarine base. With the latest opinion polls showing a close battle, the vote is expected to go right down to the wire. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Let's now bring you up to date with the other news-making stories from across the world in our segment Global Buzz. Chinese President Xi Jinping today wrapped up his Sri Lanka visit by launching the construction of a $1.4 billion port city on reclaimed land in Colombo. The project is the single largest foreign direct investment in Sri Lanka and is being built alongside an existing Chinese-built container terminal, the only mega port in South Asia. US President Barack Obama's top military advisor has recommended deploying forces in ground operations against Islamic extremists in Iraq if airstrikes prove insufficient. However, the recommendation opens the door to a riskier, more expensive American combat role than the president has publicly outlined. But General Martin Dempsey also said that currently an international coalition is the best way out. A deal has been agreed by the United Nations, Israelis and Palestinian officials to allow building materials into the Gaza Strip for reconstruction after 7 weeks of bombardment. The Palestinian Authority would play a lead role in the reconstruction effort. More than 1 lakh people were left homeless in the recent 50-day conflict. The Bangladesh Supreme Court has commuted to life imprisonment a death sentence handed to an Islamist political leader convicted of war crimes during the 1971 war. Delwar Hussain Saidi's death penalty was handed out last year and had triggered the deadliest political violence in the country's history. Well, NASA is planning to take its space mission to a new level altogether. With the help of Boeing and SpaceX, it hopes to build a spacecraft to send humans to Mars. The announcement marks the first time private sector companies will be entrusted with ferrying humans into outer space.
NASA will partner with Boeing and SpaceX to build commercially owned and operated space taxis to fly astronauts to the International Space Station, ending its dependence on Russia. The move to turn over low Earth orbit transportation to private industry will allow the space agency to focus on more ambitious missions like sending humans to Mars.
We'll conduct missions that will each set their own impressive roster of firsts.
First crew to visit and take samples from an asteroid. First crew to fly beyond the orbit of the moon. Perhaps the first crew to grow its own food and eat it in space. All of which will set us up for humanity's next giant leap, the first crew to touch down on and take steps on the surface of Mars.
For the first time in more than 40 years, US will launch a vehicle intended to carry humans beyond low Earth orbit. Both Boeing and SpaceX are already sending cargo resupply ships to the space agency. By flying astronauts commercially from the United States, NASA could end Russia's monopoly on space station crew transport. And with its eyes fixed on Mars, the world could see the first human steps on the red planet in future.
For all the action from the world of sports, here's the latest sports beat. The Sports Ministry has finally agreed to give the Arjuna Award to boxer Manoj Kumar. The decision comes after Kapil-Dev-led award committee had refused to give the coveted award to the 2010 Commonwealth Games gold medalist. Disappointed, Manoj Kumar had approached the Delhi High Court and challenged the decision after his name was dropped from the list of Arjuna awardees. Brazilian footballer Zico arrived in India for the Indian Super League scheduled for October 12th till December 20th. Zico had signed a contract in Rio de Janeiro to take the job of the head coach for Goa FC. The 61-year-old Brazilian footballer was a part of Brazil's World Cup squads in 1978, 1982 and 1986. Real Madrid started the defence of its Champions League crown with an emphatic 5-1 victory over Basel. Goals by Gareth Bale, Cristiano Ronaldo, James Rodriguez, Karim Benzema and an own goal secured the 10-time champions a very comfortable victory in Group B. Meanwhile, in another dramatic match, Liverpool defeated Ludogorets 2-1 and returned to Europe's top club competition. Meanwhile, Arsenal lost their Champions League Group D opener against German club Borussia Dortmund 2-0. Goals from Ciro Immobile and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang earned Borussia Dortmund an easy win over a lackluster Arsenal in the UEFA Champions League. That's it in this edition of the Bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.